Welcome everybody to the Your Desired Success Mastermind, giving you the secret key to new possibilities. Yeah, the rules to living consciously. There are two rules. The first one is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And the second is the platinum rule. Treat others how they want to be treated. Okay. So the power of the mastermind, Napoleon Hill here, the author of Think and Grow Rich, the world famous book of success, along with other books, he said about the principle around the mastermind, that it is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime, if you depended entirely on your own efforts for success. Hence why we are all here today. So, number one, if you'd like to start us off, Holly.
The purpose of the mastermind is to personally grow, share our value, and connect with like-minded people in order to create wealth in all areas of our lives.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
Is it Dorothy?
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We ensure we fulfill our commitments. If we agree to do something in this mastermind, we will have it done within the agreed time frame for our own personal growth and the growth of our fellow members.
As attendees, we show integrity by supporting each other and not trying to sell to the community.
We are focused, but we also think it's important.
I think you were right there, Yanni.
We are focused, but we also think it is important to have fun during meetings.
Indeed we do. We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Through masterminding in particular, it gives us the opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs.
As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised, one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
Fantastic. Thank you, ladies, for setting the foundation there. And as we touch on the mission here, our mission is to help conscious, aware, and engaged, heart-centered people achieve their desired success. Through the tools available within our Empower community and aligned online growth software, our members access a variety of areas, including masterclasses, life purpose software, goal tracking, and masterminds. You have the opportunity for connection, personal growth, ways to earn from multiple streams of income, and to contribute to the community. Our focus is to provide an affordable personal development platform to be seen, heard, achieve a sense of belonging, and a path to unlimited new possibilities. So now that we have completed our foundation of our core, did you all like that new little presentation I put together this afternoon? Any feedback? No? Cool. So is there a delay at my end? I'm getting nothing from anyone.
You're frozen.
Can you hear me?
Sounds like a robot.
Can you hear me though?
That's how I like him, still and quiet.
So you can't hear me?
Yes.
You can. All right. Okay.
Yes,
thanks.
It's very slow.
Yes, you were talking well.
Right. Okay. That's weird.
No,
It's all good now.
Okay.
It's working
Right.
now.
I apologize for that, ladies. So today we're talking about faith, and it says here, once you have your desire, you need to have faith in the process. Faith is what Napoleon Hill calls an eternal elixir, which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. It transforms your ordinary thoughts into a spiritual force, which powers your communion with infinite intelligence. A weak expression of faith holds little power. If you want to attract more wealth, but you only believe in yourself and this process a little bit, then Hill argues that you'll only attract a little wealth. As such, exercising this creative faculty requires closing your mind completely to all that may dim your vision, quench your belief, or cause you to doubt. Put simply, the more rock-solid faith you have in this process, the more quickly and powerfully you can manifest what you want. Did you all hear that okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so is there anybody who would like to give 2 minutes worth of what they received from this chapter before we dive into any specific areas of topic in the chapter? Feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, maybe not then. So number one.
Dorothy has got her hand up, Martin.
Oh, sorry, I can't see anybody that's not got the video on. So, yep, Dorothy, if you'd like to unmute yourself and share just a quick 2 minutes of what you received from the chapter of faith.
Yes, for me, faith is one of the most important things on my spiritual journey I'm going through since about 35 years. And even in my family life or financial life, when it comes to hard processes in existence, faith was for me the only thing that carried me through. So I was quite, although I was busy today with clients, I made my time free to join this chapter because I'm keen to hear what you try to share with us. I find it the most important chapter, but it also is misunderstood sometimes. So faith is sometimes misunderstood in the category of belief. And this is, for me, something quite different. So I'm eager to hear your ideas about it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dorothy. Appreciate that. So let's get straight into the book here around what Napoleon had shared. And he said here, faith is the head chemist of the mind. Think of what a chemist is doing. Okay. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translated into its spiritual equivalent, and transmitted into infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. How to develop faith. There comes now a statement which will give you a better understanding of the importance, the principle of autosuggestion. Remember how we communicate with ourselves. Assumes in the transmutation of desire into its physical or monetary equivalent. Namely, faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind through the principle of autosuggestion. So, when we think about what I just shared there, what would your instruction be thinking of the previous chapter? So this is, remember, this is chapter now after a certain chapter. So what would your communication be? What would your instruction be thinking of the previous chapter? Does anybody know, first of all, what the previous chapter was?
Well, I think it was burning desire in the women's one before faith, but I don't know about the other one.
Correct. Yeah. So based on the power of desire, what would your instruction be?
Mine would be to tap into my burning desire and feel it. So tap into the emotion. And then from there, believe in my emotion, and my desire is one with infinite intelligence. And in that would create an energy of faith, like a feeling that totally would have me aligned in believing, which is faith.
Yeah. Beautifully shared. Thanks, Carly. So anybody else?
Yeah, I agree with Carly. I think that, yes, we need to have our burning desire and know what we want so that we can start to believe in it and then gain faith that we can achieve it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Lynette. So remember, faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind through the principle of autosuggestion. Now, when we were talking before, or when we were going through the principles and mission statement, I mentioned around the software. Now, in the software, we have the ability to add your affirmations. So this is aligned with your goals and so on, and what you're going to actually read to yourself. I had a conversation with a guy yesterday who's been using this tool as a free member for quite a while, and he's been blown away with how much it's positively impacted his own life by checking in with his goals and reading his affirmations. So once again, it's what Hill says here: faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions. So going back to the goals. So if we click on the goals side of things here, then we actually come into this section and we start talking about, like here, I am grateful for whatever it is. I feel a sense of joy and freedom now that. I am filled with joy as I experience Australia. I will access the abundance game. Like, notice how there's a lot of communication here. All of these goals that are put in there. Like this is an important part of that journey towards success, whatever it is for each of us. So the angle being that constantly what we're communicating on a daily basis is feeding into that subconscious mind to create that level of faith, because there is enough voices out there that are going to try and defer us. So I'll give you an example of what happened to me. I mentioned this earlier. Somebody who I admire, who I respect, who I view as an incredible role model to me, was asking me some questions around he basically turned around and said, your hourly rate is crap. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, what you get paid for your hourly rate is crap. And I said, okay, fair enough. And he said, what is it that you're trying to achieve? And I started rolling off and answering as best I could based on the questions that were being asked, because some of it I didn't understand. But I felt this energy that was very negative, very challenging, and no faith in my ability. So whilst I'm trying my best to answer these questions as I'm believing they're being asked, I was being torn, because somebody who I respect and admire, I felt, was trying to crush me and say, it's a waste of time. You're never going to achieve it. So when I rolled off my desire, not read it from what I read every night and every morning, but I said around what we're going to achieve, it was met with like a sarcastic laugh. Really? And I took a step back, because I believe in this, or I have faith in this 100% happening. There is no level of doubt for me whatsoever. Yet my connection to this person, and because of how much I value this person, I was triggered. And I was really having this conversation with myself around, I believe I can do it. I know I can do it. But somebody who has seemed to have belief in me all of a sudden is challenging that I can't do it, and that it's a pipe dream. There's no way it can be achieved. So I had to have this conversation with myself, or rather I chose to have this conversation with myself in regards to, do I have faith that I can achieve it? And the instant answer without any level of thought was yes. Does it resonate within me on every single emotional level that I can do it? 100% yes. And I realized that in that moment, I was being challenged to truly connect with my faith. I could have easily turned around and said, this person knows more than me. This person is successful in many areas of his life, and especially financially. I could have easily listened to that and let that dictate me and guide me. But I chose to believe and have faith in what is true for me based on the information and the shared energy from Napoleon and all the other people that he interviewed. And I think that was, I needed that to happen to help really concrete that in for me. But it was a very empowering moment where I could have easily, and for those of us who have read Outwitting the Devil, I could have easily become a drifter. So that's why I feel it's 100% important, why I say to everybody who chooses to align or wants to work with me, access the abundance game. Because it's there to make sure we are creating that level of auto-suggestion every day to ourselves. We are reading our desire. We are going through and getting clear on what our goals are for that aligned action. Is there anything coming up for anybody that they'd like to share around anything or their experience?
I was just wanting to share about decision, because in that it helped you get clear and decide in full faith, this is what you want, right? Because one of the times I prayed to travel to India and I had no money in the bank account for the flight or anything, and it was about a month to go, and I just prayed and said, if I'm meant to go, God, I'll go if you send me the money, like if I'm meant to, and the money comes. Within a week, within about 6 days, Ian won the lottery ticket that was exactly the right amount of money. And he gave me the ticket. And it was the exact amount of money to fly to India.
Yeah, wow.
Like right down to the last, dollar note, even. Like, I went, okay, I'm going to India.
Good job it's not an expensive country. Otherwise, you'd have asked for a bit more, wouldn't you?
Well, that was the thing. Why didn't I ask for more? Anyways, but the thing was, like, I didn't doubt it or desire it or anything. I just said, if it's meant to be and the money comes, God, I'll go. Like, that was just pure faith. Yeah. That either way was perfect.
Beautiful example, Carly. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And there's been many other people who have shared similar stories around having that faith and that money coming in. It was more around, as you said, making a decision that aligned and letting go of that money coming in, just having faith it was going to come in. And remember what Napoleon had said in the angle of desire. Get clear on what the desire is, and then make a plan of what are you going to give in order to receive. Like if you're clear, and this is where we've spoken about living in accordance with your values, to fill your own cup and letting that overflow and raising that vibration. And when you raise that vibration, naturally that energy wants to come, which is money's an energy. It wants to come in. It's naturally going to be attracted to that energy that's raised. So anybody else got something there around what we just shared around that faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind through a principle of autosuggestion? Nope. Cool.
Yes, Martin.
Monica, go for it. Yep.
Just talk to, because something that's been coming up for me a lot is working out. I'm not a very visual person, and just trying to get that burning desire clear in my head and articulating it is actually the first challenge, because I can, I've manifested things which I've just have been easy and haven't required a lot from me, but big ticket items that I'm really emotionally attached to are much harder. They require a lot of effort. So I've been trying to work out how to use what you do with your visuals and your burning desire to actually make it more powerful. So from that, because my faith gets tested all the time when I think I'm on the right track, and what I thought I visualized doesn't happen. And I just keep banging my head against the wall and just keep trying and trying and trying, and it doesn't happen. So, and there is actually something in the Think and Grow Rich for Women where it says you are worthy of success and you will enjoy success to the extent and only to the extent that you believe in yourself. So it's like, it's almost like a hello, you don't actually have enough faith in yourself to achieve this yet.
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of banging my head against the wall. It's also about, okay, so how do I need to step up? What's the next level?
So is that a question you're asking consciously, or is that something that you're going, okay, well, it'll happen when it happens?
I've started asking it consciously. Yeah.
And are you finding any communication back to you? Are people coming into your life that are opening doors or helping you in any way? Like not necessarily one-on-one coaching, but you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, the past probably month or so, people are showing up that I'm quite surprised. They're not what I thought would happen, but things are happening, which are like, oh, yeah, this could actually help me get further along.
And would you say that's because you're choosing to show up?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm putting myself out there a lot more. Just
and
doing different things.
And is that something that before like all of this, you would say you weren't?
Yes. And also, I'm actually just deciding to have a bit of fun. Instead of just taking it all so seriously, and this is all about my goals and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, you know, this would just be fun. Let's go to a horse behavior center and let's go just have a bit of fun. And from that, I'm actually developing a course with the lady who runs it, which I would never have expected to do.
Yeah, wow. Good on you. So what you've expressed there, and hey Tony, good to see you on, buddy. He's stolen me thunder of the only man in the room. But what would you have expressed there would definitely be, and communicating to me, is a level of self-worth and choosing to grow through that process, which is now opening new doors for you and opportunities for you to go to that state where you want to get to in regards to on it, thinking bigger and having bigger burning desire. But accepting that the smaller ones are the stepping stones towards the bigger ones. Yes, and celebrating that, celebrating the milestones along the way. Yeah, instead of just working through them, working. Okay, tick. It's like, oh, well, I'm just going to have a bit of celebration there, and yeah. Fantastic. Well done, Veronica. Thanks. Thank you, Dorothy.
Yes, I love what Veronica just shared, because this is something that went through my head a long time, because I learned from my yoga practice or teachings even more letting go than desiring things. And I guess viewed on the 3D level of our human consciousness, maybe desires just distract us. But the point of the burning desire is something that is far more deep, I guess, or I discovered for me. And that burning desires are maybe not even conscious, grabbable, or even that's why I'm also not such a visible person, more audible person. Maybe it's not even possible to have a picture or an idea on this in my mind, but in my heart there are burning desires, and to find these burning desires is something that is guiding our life path, I guess, and that is guiding us also to find the right people to come into new awareness also. So to find out what these burning desires is something quite different to the desires we are looking for in the world, I guess. And this was a good bridge for me to understand, to open up for the burning desires, to let them come up by all the practices I know already.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Dorothy. I've just remembered, as Dorothy was talking there, Tony, the conversations around faith but we're reflecting back to the burning desire. And those of you who are on my Facebook profile will have seen me take a picture the other day at the farm with the sunset and the fire that was burning. And whilst Dorothy was talking then, it helped me become aware of something that I witnessed, but I didn't attach it to anything other than this moment right now. And once again, the power of nature. When we look at a fire that's taking place, especially like a bonfire, all the wood that's burning, we see the flames on the top. So the orange and the yellow flames. So when Dorothy was talking then, what I was able to visually see was the flames of the desire that are easily there and they go. But what continues to burn is all of the wood and so on down the bottom that stays all red. I can't think of what the word is, but it stays there and it's just constantly, the next day, it's still red and burning and doing its thing. There's no flames, but it's right down in the core, the essence of the fire. So when Dorothy was sharing there, I was seeing the flames as just being the desire, because you really need to get right down to the burning desire that is actually what is going to fuel you getting there, then creating that level of, or the step into your next stage of the faith, the auto-suggestion. And as Napoleon said in faith, it's, if you can master it, which comes down to communication to self, because as I just shared there, somebody who I respect, who I admire, I'm saying now, looking up to from a place of vibration, this person's no better than me, no less than me, but from a point of vibration, I look up to this person. And I could have allowed myself, if I hadn't been communicating so clearly and effectively every single day, twice a day on my burning desire, if I hadn't been communicating, I know that I would have probably just gone, what's the point? I'd have been deferred and down another road that probably wouldn't be serving me on the level that this is. So that burning desire, this I can't think of the bloody word when it from the fire, simmer or something. That is what's driving every day, and we need to find a way to connect with that. And it doesn't have to be massive. You know, it's some people fear it and they resist it because they think it has to be bigger than. And like Carly shared, it can be something really small as a starting point. Because once we experience the result, we then go, wow, this works. And we start going a little bit deeper and we start opening the door. And unfortunately, as we know, and Shrek, the movie Shrek is a fantastic one of this, there's sometimes a lot of layers that need to peel off. Sometimes we need to let go of these layers to be able to shift through, to get deeper inside of us, to find out what it is. And we've allowed unconsciously, even as a child, we've allowed the opinions and the communication of others to basically affect us, and it's not serving us, even at this stage in our life. And we go, why can't I break through this? And really, it's because of something we allowed to happen years ago that is still in our subconscious mind, like driving us. Yet the conscious mind is like, but I want this. And the subconscious mind goes, no, I'll let you see it, but you ain't getting anywhere near it, buddy. And you're like, but I want it. No, until you've started to communicate and your subconscious mind is hearing that same repetition and goes, hang on a minute, this person's me, because obviously it's me. I'm serious about this. It's not a dream. It's not a pipe dream. It's not just a goal or a desire. This is actually something more. Hang on a minute. The communication I used to be saying to myself is starting to alight and starting to go. Because the true communication of what you desire, like your burning desire now, is being communicated effectively to ourselves. Does this make sense? Because this is what's coming up for me as I'm feeling right now. Communicate to your inner child, sweetheart. Absolutely. Dorothy, your hand's up again, I think.
I just wanted to add to your comment. I guess there is even the bridge from the burning desire back to your topic of faith, because if the burning desire, if we allow it, even if we don't know it, maybe, even if we don't know how to reach out of it, sometimes universal law is just supporting, even, or we met someone, but maybe even by a severe sickness or an accident or whatever, things sometimes happen to bring us back to the roots in order to find out what next. What is it all about, and what is it that supports me in the depths of my being, and not on the superficial level of running my business and things like that. And so I guess we need to trust. For me, trust and faith is nearly the same. Trust in the superior intelligence also that guides us through all these processes and brings things to happen in our life that we maybe do not even understand. And if we keep the trust that everything is all right in order to bring us further, then things can happen.
Yeah. Have the trust there. Thank you, Dorothy. Is there anything coming up for anybody else around faith? Because Napoleon here said all thoughts which have been emotionalized, so they've had a feeling given to them, and mixed with faith, begin immediately to translate themselves into physical equivalent or counterpart. The emotions or the feeling portion of thoughts are the factors which give thoughts vitality, life, and action. The emotions of faith, love, and sex, when mixed with any thought impulse, give it greater action than any of these emotions can do singly. So there's certain things that no doubt when we think about them, we instantly go into emotion. We instantly can create emotional state. So for instance, when I think about my guardian angel, Bessie, who passed 18 months ago, 12 months ago, I instantly have an emotional connection. And there's a shift that's taking place right there and then. When I think about the experience of climbing Mount Nameless, it does have an indigenous name, but I don't know it. But it's called Mount Nameless in Australia. When I remember that experience, I have a connection and emotional feeling to going up that hill and looking over the edge and thinking, crikey, I better stay on the path here. So there's a lot that comes up. So connecting emotionally is what creates far more in regards to, especially around the burning desire of what Napoleon was sharing there. But how many of us, and who here finds it hard to emotionally connect to your burning desire, or maybe even just a goal? Who here finds it hard to do so? Yeah. So basically, I mean, obviously I can't see people whose hands aren't up. Basically, all of us. Basically, all of us are challenged with that. And is there anybody who'd like to share their thoughts on why that would be? Carly?
I feel it depends on I'm into karma, so I feel it depends on our karma, our wound, our self-worth. Some wounds, depending on our karma, good or bad, so it depends where we sit subconsciously in the faith of that area. So I can pray and go to India, but then if I was praying for something else, i.e. the electricity bill, I would have a different faith, you see, because one's very spiritual for me and the other, even though it's all the same energy, the electricity bill doesn't have the same spiritual connection for me.
So sorry to interrupt there, but something's come up for me. Would you say then it's because you feel that there is far more value for you based on your values in being in India than there is in the electricity that you've received?
No, it's what I'm saying is my spiritual side of me is so ignited that I don't see paying the electricity bill as spiritual, but it's still spiritual. So it depends how I want to use my mindset, because it's still all one energy, and money and wealth and the electricity bill was a lightning bolt from God anyways. You see, so it really depends on where I karmically sit in those, because my wound doesn't see the value of paying the lightning bill in a physical realm, but it does in a spiritual realm.
Yes.
My values in this spiritual realm, because I'm all about angels. But when I bring them both together and bring them back into polarity, I'm in full alignment with all prayer answered. So when I own that, both of them, accept both of them and value both of them, I've actually tapped into the creative intelligence of the universe instantly. So I could then ask for anything and it will create, because I'm in full self-worth, full self-value, full self-acceptance, full alignment with creative energy of the universe. But I'm not perfect yet, so I'm still working on the electricity bill and getting aligned. All I'm doing is bringing it back into harmony and balance within me and accepting both as valuable.
Yeah, wow, beautiful. Thanks, Carly. Mum.
So that's really interesting, Carly, because something peculiar happened to me this morning. Every morning I get up at 7 o'clock and I drop some water off at a guy that needs the water on a Thursday, and then I rush into Tesco's and run around Tesco's getting the veg that I can't get when I get to Manic Organic. And today was the first time that when she said how much the bill was, I smiled to myself and thought, that's brilliant. What a lovely amount to pay for that food. And then I went to fill the car up with petrol because we're going to Nottingham tomorrow. And when I got to the petrol station, I thought it would cost me X amount of pounds, and it cost me less. And I thought, wow, isn't that lovely to have paid that much for this diesel? And I got to Manic Organic and the same thing happened, and I did the same thing. And you've just made me realise that actually I was in such a good, and I don't know how it started, I don't know where it came from, but it was an amazing feeling. I like really lovingly, because Dave and I deal in a lot of cash, I really lovingly gave everybody my money. And do you know what? Do you know, it was absolute, and I've never ever, I know, well, there are exceptions. It was really, and whether it's my state of mind or yeah, it was a lovely feeling to be, and whether it's faith or what it was, I don't know. But you saying that about the electricity bill just made me realise just how lovely it was parting with that money this morning to get what I've got.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mum. That's a really, really powerful way to look at things. Is there anybody else that wants to share on anything that came up then? Because the thing that was coming up for me around that, Carly, and this is probably bringing it more into a let's say a 3D reality of communicating for the majority to receive. Not that you didn't do an incredible job, because you did. Is that thing of, we often get caught up in something that we want to do, and we forget the power of what we're already receiving. So like, for instance, if I just leverage what you shared there around going to India, the experience and what that's going to be like. And then like you're saying there around the electricity bill. And I know that the way that you shared it, and you shared it incredibly well, that we often don't see the, pun intended, the power in regards to the electricity bill from the space of what it's allowed us to do and create. So right now, the electricity has allowed this to all take place. Right. So these are all these things that are happening. All these energies are taking place around us. And sometimes it's more so unconsciously, we're unconsciously ungrateful for what we've already got and what we're receiving that allows for the next level and the things that we want. So I know that for me to achieve that burning desire that I set out, I must find gratitude in the fact that I can wake up to go out there and serve others. I must find gratitude in the ability to be able to have a laptop and power to function it, to be able to then open it and it turn on. I must find gratitude in all of these little things, and gratitude in the people who are willing to be open to receive the energetic message that I have to potentially help them. And it may sound like a lot, but the gratitude on those smaller levels allows the energy to raise for the bigger things to come in. And that's what I was receiving when you were sharing there, Carly. Because it really is such a powerful way to start when people have said to me, oh, I don't know what to be grateful for. And that's why the book, The Magic, is a great place to start, to help you start practicing gratitude. But even the angle of, well, you know, I've got all these problems and it's usually bills or relationships. And it's like, but did you wake up today? Oh, well, yeah, well, that's fine. I'm like, well, some people didn't. And there's some people that you know right now who aren't in a very good, healthy state and may not be able to push through. Like Tony and I have got a close friend of ours who went in for an op and had to be basically brought back to life. Like a couple of days ago, went in for a routine op, and next thing is having a cardiac arrest and was out for, I think, 12 minutes or something. I think he was out for. And fortunately is back with us. Well, you know, another friend of mine went in for back surgery and she never woke up. So like these things that we get this level of concern around family or friends who are going through these challenges, but yet to find the gratitude in the little things around the fact that we can, I used to say I'm blind as a bat. I'm not blind as a bat. I can still see. But you see how the communication to me was, I'm as blind as a bat. So is that going to help my eyesight? Absolutely not. I'm grateful that I can see fantastic, because some people can't. So there's these things that are constantly happening that just remind us of around that gratitude, that energy, to raise ourselves, to then help us get to that level to where we maybe have a burning desire to get to. So thanks for that, Carly, because that really was a beautiful thing to be able to share and then receive. Is there anybody coming up for anybody there they'd like to touch on?
Yes.
Balance and acceptance of polarity through self-internal acceptance, love, and trust. Sorry, who was that? I missed that. Veronica.
Me. I'd like to say thank you to Rosa, because it's so simple to just be grateful for the fact that you have the money to give someone, and to be grateful to that person who's receiving the money for whatever they did or whatever they provided. It's just such a simple exchange that will raise the vibration of everybody involved. As far as the faith goes and the different goals, like as I said before, there are goals which I have just kind of thought about and then they manifest quite simply. And then there's other goals that the mind either goes, yeah, right, or goes straight into how. And I think how was a big killer, because you don't know how right now, and that doesn't matter. It's just about planning, preparing, and surrendering.
That's a
You
really
don't need
powerful
how
point.
right now.
That's a really powerful point. Because many of us don't know the how, as you say, Veronica, and therefore we'll instantly find a reason, and our auto-suggestion will kick in regards to it can't be done. Yeah.
Veronica, what you expressed, I've also gone into situations where I feel it's just desire, you know, when you want something so bad, you attract it to yourself. But being able to actually tap into the faith separately from everything, I don't know if you guys believe, is it a combination of everything that allows you to come to faith? You know, because first you believe, right? You the repetition of what you want, and then I guess putting it to the emotion of the desire of what you want, which is the outcome of faith, because it's I still can't understand or seem to place faith within what I have, within what I get, because I don't know if it's releasing the wanting of it in order for you to get what you want. If that, I don't know, I don't know, because there is sometimes that just a couple of weeks ago, I wanted something so bad that it didn't happen, but then I know I wanted a process to happen and I just allow it to be. I didn't took control of it. I was just like, I'm gonna let it be. And if like Holly said in her trip, you know, I'm gonna let it be, and I know it's what I want. But taking the control of the situation is what allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if faith comes to that, allowing it to just be. Then you having all these, because I always say, if it's not one way, it's a different way, you know. And I don't know if I allow myself to go in so many directions in order for me to get it, until I guess I surrender, allowing faith to take action.
Yeah, thank you for that, Yanni. The thing that was coming for me when you were sharing that there is that, how does any living being breathe? So when we block the airway or we strangle it, we struggle to breathe. And when we're constantly thinking about it and it has to happen and it must happen and I want this to happen, we're constantly strangling it, instead of creating that desire. And as Veronica said so beautifully there, that's letting, like, surrender. That word's such a powerful word, surrender to it. But knowing that we're not surrendering from a state of lack, we're actually surrendering to allow it to come in. Because what we're doing is we're actually constantly, believe it or not, or consciously or not, we're actually keeping the door shut by constantly talking about it instead of allowing the door to open and let it flow in. Is just my opinion. I've noticed it in different areas of my life where I've let go, but more importantly, I think where I've actually been very clear on it and then focused on the gratitude. I focused on my core values. I focused on the things that serve me with no attachment to whether I receive that burning desire or goal or not. And when I've let go of it or surrendered to it, it's actually happened. And sometimes it's happened without me even realizing it's happened, because I've been in such a state of life and enjoying myself and on that higher level that it's come in. But because I'm at a higher level, I'm ready for something bigger, if that makes sense. That vibration was here that I was desiring, but I was vibrating here. So it automatically came in without me really being aware of it, because I'm here going on for more. Whereas if I had only raised to that little point or that little bit, then I'd have been consciously aware of it entering into my vicinity. I believe this also happens in relationships with friends and people we connect with in the community, is that they're coming in different levels and different vibrations and where they're at. But if we're constantly evolving in ourself and just focusing on serving self, not from a place of selfishness, from a place of selfishness, then that's going to overflow and naturally going to create more. But we also, by showing up, we open the door for these people to come in and receive their value to help us go to the next level, and to more importantly as well, to as importantly, help them go to their next level. That's why we're connected. That's just my opinion. If anybody else has got anything on top of that they'd like to share, please do. Yes, Mum.
There's a couple of things really. I've learned to say to myself when I desire something or I have a goal to something, I've learned to say to myself, it is nothing to do with me how it's going to arrive. I just let it go, and it will come. And it's taken a while, because your first reaction is to go, oh, how's that going to happen? But as soon as I start thinking along them lines, I tell myself, well, it's nothing to do with you. And I'm basically learning to leave it. And the other thing was, when you listen to Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, and he talks about, and I've always been a Catholic all my life, he talks about us going and praying, and we're not praying, we're begging. And my Lord, have I begged in my time. And what I've realized is that if Juan Martin was a little boy and he asked me, would I do something, he either got told yes or no. But if it was in my capacity, I would do it. Now, the more he went on at me to do it, the less likely I was to give it him. So you can understand the theory of going to church and praying like mad and coming out and still feeling the lack of, but going to church and coming out and thinking, I've asked and it's on its way. And it's funny now, I don't go to church because I don't feel that church is the place to ask anyway. I can ask any time of the day. And isn't that what God said? I'm here all the time. You know, you don't need to be in a place. But you see so many people praying on their knees and begging, yet not having the faith that it will happen. You know, I mean, we do a lot of Abraham Hicks, and she says, you know, how many times you have to ask your child to put the bin out, or my Dave to put the bin out? Ask once and it'll be done. And that's what we do, isn't it? Ask, have faith. So the minute you have faith, just opens it up to receiving it.
Can I add something to that? Thank you, Rosa. That was awesome. But I also want to add that even if you do pray and you pray for 40 days, 40 nights, that is still auto-suggestion until you get a feeling of fully aligned with faith. And then you get to a point where you surrender that prayer and you don't need to keep praying because you feel different. So it's still auto-suggestion. So it's still nothing wrong with that if someone's listening to this. Where Rose is talking about just owning it from the get-go, believing it straight away, deciding it's already on its way, making that decision and just believing and trusting and just let the prayer go to heaven or go to the universe to be answered with no attachment, just knowing it's already on the way. So either way works. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Mum and Carly. Tony.
Yeah, sorry I was late. I got back late from work. Yeah, for me, faith is part of this whole process that Napoleon Hill's describing throughout the book. It's a belief in things that aren't yet apparent. So when you can see the potential of people and things and ideas, and you can see them in your mind's eye, they may not exist to the external world yet, but you know that they're there. You see that potential in people and ideas and so on. But backed up with that is the surrendering that Veronica talked about, is knowing or trusting that the universe has your back. I'm a great believer in or a great admirer of Gabrielle Bernstein's work, and she wrote the book, The Universe Has Your Back. In other words, whatever it is that you are what your burning desire is that you're working towards, that it may not come to you in the way that you expect it to, and that there will always be setbacks and there'll always be challenges and obstacles. But if you have faith in your ability to get to the end result, which is never an end, it's always, you know, the goalposts always keep moving. There's always we're all a work in progress. But to get to where you think it is that you want to get to, you have to trust that the universe will have your back. So even when things don't appear to be working out, they will come good, as long as you maintain your faith. As soon as you give up and start to believe that you can't do it or it won't happen, then you sow the seeds of doubt, and then you undermine the universe starts asking, or are you serious? Well, whatever your version of the universe is, I'll call it the universe, you might call it God, whatever, a universal source or power. But the key thing for me is, going back to something you said earlier, Martin, was that you also need action. It's about harnessing, it's about stacking the cards in your favor. So to start with, you need to be fully present. You need to be aware of what it is that your burning desire is, or whatever it is that you want to achieve. You obviously want to feel gratitude for what you already have. That's all the key thought leaders in this area talk about the importance of gratitude. And obviously you need to be in alignment with your values. Well, that presupposes you must know what your values are, and a lot of people haven't even thought about it, or have never asked themselves the question, what are my values? And so when I say stacking the cards, it's like the more you can add these things together and harness all these powers, the greater you increase your chance of pulling the whole thing together. So if you can see it in your mind's eye, what it is that you really want to achieve, if you know why it's really important to you and to other people that are going to be impacted by achieving it, if you can bring all your senses to bear, if you can hear what the sounds of this, if let's say your goal is to make enough money that you're on a world trip or something, and you imagine yourself sitting on this paradise beach somewhere, I'll just use that as an example. You need to be able to hear the waves lapping on the shore. You like looking at your desired success background that Carly's got there. You need to be able to smell the ocean. You need to be able to feel the breeze on your face and the sunlight on you. The more you can imagine and make that a vivid reality, then your subconscious mind goes to work on creating everything that you've desired, even though it doesn't know how to go about it yet. As V said earlier, you don't necessarily need to get bogged down in the how to. That will come. The biggest element is knowing why and what that's going to mean for you and for the people you care about, or the people who you're trying to help. And in the book, he gave the example, or a few examples, people like Gandhi, people like Abe Lincoln. They had a cause that was bigger than themselves. So if you can find a cause as well and build on that and make it something that you're passionate about, then you're really stacking the cards in your favor. So, and like Rosa said, it's not about begging, it's about having a vision of what you really want to achieve and then asking for the help to make it become a reality. That's completely different to begging. And also believing that you can somehow pull it off, and that if you are honest and in alignment with your values, the universe will make it happen with you. But you have to take action as well. You can't just wish for it. There you go. That's my bit.
Cheers, Tony. An incredible amount of value in a short period of time. They're dropping bombs everywhere on us all, which is fantastic. So thank you for all of that. You reminded me of what Napoleon said there around, it's somewhere in this chapter when I was reading it, and he said about, we have to be making clear orders. We have to be putting in an order of, like you said, they're asking for help, but it's an empowered call of what you want, rather than as most people do, is that prayer of, oh, please, I need this now, and it's coming from a place of lack and fear. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that at the end there, because it definitely was something that when I was reading the chapter, that it highlighted around the importance of putting in your order. Every time we place an order online, we expect it's going to be delivered. We have faith that it's going to be delivered. We're going to get exactly what we ordered. Yet when it comes down to things that are actually for what we truly have a burning desire, attachment to, and we want in this lifetime and maybe even beyond, we tend to have these messages that go on in our head and things that go on and get themselves in the way. So when we can start to see, and I think that's why it's so, like, I love this version of the book. And I'm not saying that I don't like Think and Grow Rich for Women or anything else, but I just really like the unedited version, and where the way that it's communicated, And because of the continued, and this is where I think it's a very important factor, because of the fact that we keep showing up, we start to receive more in each chapter. So I know I've gone back to this chapter. This is probably the 4th time for me of reading it. And I'm going to say easily 20th time of listening to it on audio, that I'm like, wow, I'm receiving so much more. Even what I highlighted the first time, I wasn't highlighting this time. Like even that, I was reading what I'd highlighted this time, last time, and going, yeah, well, I know that. I already know that. So, but I was struggling to find the initial, why did I highlight that? Why didn't I highlight this? This resonates more, but it's because of how much I've evolved through, as Tony said, choosing to take action, choosing to absorb that. How can I implement it and move forward? And we're all doing this, whether it's unconsciously or consciously. But when we're choosing to show up consciously, we're then able to see and have a level of awareness as to how much we've grown. And Napoleon said, it's only once you have mastered all the other principles that you will understand the true power of faith. Like in the book, he referred to, you need to master the other ones to really gain the true essence of faith. Now, some of us might be like, what? That's going to take forever. But it depends how open we are and how willing we are to receive the messages that are coming through and be actually practicing. When we talked around auto-suggestion, self-suggestion, once again, what did I refer to? Affirmations in the abundance game. When we talk about the life purpose and the burning desire, what do I refer to? The abundance game. Like these things are there from a foundation of helping us grow and evolve and build upon. That's why they're a critical part and why they're given to everybody to help everybody. So have a look at what you've got access to, the power of these calls, the communication, the community. The reason why we're growing at such an insane rate for those of us who are showing up is because we're surrounded by incredible other people who are on a same journey. And none of us are trying to strangle each other. We're all focused on helping each other breathe and evolve and adapt in life towards our burning desires. So thank you, everybody, for your time and your shares. It's been a really empowering call. Very, very grateful for each and every one of you. Next week, I'll drop in the group of Your Desired Success. For those of you who aren't in there, please go and find it. I'll drop in the group the next topic we're going to cover. But I'm glad that we talked today about this one, because as I said, after that experience I had, and then going within, I realized that there was definitely an importance in having a clear desire that was being read each day. In the morning and evening, that's just kept me on track to help me keep going in the direction that I know I'm here to achieve. But not just for me, for everyone that chooses to align. So thank you, everyone. Go and have yourselves a tremendous day. For those of you who are Vault members and Gold Stars, we're on in 20 minutes. We're back here. So thanks, everybody. Arrivederci.
Thank you.
Thank you. Night.